Hello, how are you? So glad to be able to come and speak with you again this week. As we have mentioned before, we are on several platforms now. Thankfully, wow, it's amazing. Even we older people are learning new things. For those of you who are just finding out who I am Samantha Tate Allen. I happen to minister in different functions in the ministry. We speak about everyday life from a Christian perspective, and that's not to be confining anyone else. We just love everyone. Tonight we're going to be talking about is the Proverb 31 woman, every woman. We know that there were several women that sang the song I'm Every Woman. Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, and Whitney Houston, and each had a different version to that. And we know that some of the lyrics says, I'm every woman, it's all in me. Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally. So that's saying a lot. So what we're talking about is the Proverb 31 woman, because you hear that a lot. So many are saying, I'm the Proverbs 31 woman and all of this. First of all, in Proverbs 31, and we'll go over it in a moment, it's speaking specifically to a married woman. And to be totally specific, it was speaking to a king's wife. But there are some characteristics that she had that many women have, whether they are married or single. Yes, but in this particular passage, it's talking about the virtue or the nobility of character of a wife. So what it was saying is, starting at Proverbs 10, let's do that first and go really fast. And then we're going to talk about some things. So we are asking a question. Is the Proverb 31 woman every woman? Proverbs 31:10 says, who can find a wife of noble character? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will not lack anything good. She rewards him with good, not evil, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the merchant ship, bringing her food from far away. She rises while it is still night and provides food for her household and portions for her female servants. She evaluates a field and buys it. She plants a vineyard with her earnings. She draws on her strength and reveals that her arms are strong. She sees that her profits are good and her lamp never goes out at night. She extends her hands to the spinning staff, and her hands hold the spindle. Her hands reach out to the poor, as she extends her hands to the needy. She is not afraid for her household when it snows, for all in her household are doubly clothed. She makes her own bed coverings. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known at the city gates, where he sits among the elders of the land. She makes and sells linen garments. She delivers belts to the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she can laugh at the time to come. Her mouth speaks wisdom, and loving instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the activities of her household and is never idle. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also praises her. Many women have done noble deeds, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised. Give her the reward of her labor, and let her works praise her at the city gates. So we're asking, is every woman a proverb woman? Now we know in this particular passage of scripture is talking about a wife. So we know that even single women have, yes, phenomenal woman. We realize that even single women can have these qualifications. But this particular passage was talking to King Solomon. His mother was letting him know what a wife is to be to you. She can't be someone that just want to hang out all the time, just want to go party, don't have anything, want to wear everything that she owns, whether on her back or on her feet. She's not wanting to just have all of her money or her possessions where everyone can see it. She's going to be somebody that wants to, actually, she's going to spend like she's poor, but save like she's rich. In other words, she's not going to live above her means. She's going to take whatever is placed in her hands and make that thing turn over. She's going to make it extend. It's going to expand. She's going to be compassionate. She's going to be loving. She's going to be one that's willing to help others. It's not all about herself, but she's not going to be idle. She has a business sense. She wants to, whatever you put in her hands, she's always thinking, how can we make things better? That's what a Proverbs woman would do. Now, like we said, this particular passage was talking about a wife. But even the single women, they shouldn't just be concerned about just my clothes and my makeup got to be just flawless. I got to have what they say, the red bottom shoes, and we know that's Prada. We don't have to have just everybody's name on our stuff. We need to be able to create some things that put our name on. That's just like this woman, she was able to make her own bed linen. She was able to buy food from foreign lands. She was thinking up all night long about other things she needed to do. Of course, she got some things done. Of course, she got some sleep. But her mind was working as far as, how can I expand? See, we have so many people now, all they're talking about is a brand, branding their name. They actually creating a business with their name, their ministries or their names first. If something happens to them, you're going to have to try to duplicate them. How? When their whole ministry is centered around just them. Now, if you thinking in business, and especially if you have others in mind, especially if you're a wife, you're going to have to think just past you. You're thinking about everyone that's entrusted in your care. And single women, yes, you helping some people. Single women also, they're thinking past just where they are right now. There are so many deceptions, so many lies being thrown out in the media today, because what people are seeing, young people are seeing, is that someone may get a video camera, stand at someone's mansion, or they might be standing in front of a Lamborghini, all these Italian names, Lamborghini, Maserati, and all these things. And they see these reality shows and not realizing that all of that stuff that they're seeing is a script. Yes, some people own some things, but some people, they actually, as they go, they're paying for it. It's loaned out to them. If they're no longer in the business that they're in, whether it's entertainment, music, or whatever, then that stuff goes back to someone else. So, and then there's so many people that are on the social media now trying to perpetrate. They're creating a facade of a lifestyle that they don't own. They can't even afford. Yes, rented houses and things such as that. And instead of teaching the young people that you can own something. Now, there's many people had never gone to college before. We call them old school. Our ancestors, our grandparents, or our parents, depending on your age. And they didn't have much money, but they learned to think like they had more. What they did, what we said, that they actually spent like they were poor, but saved like they were rich. If you're thinking that you are wealthy, that means you're going to always draw that to you. You're not going to try to spend everything that you have. Yes, you know that you got to use your resources to make things happen, as we say. You can't have a business and not invest in it and make it prosperous. It's going to take maybe your first few years. Everything that you making is going back into your business. Yes, they didn't allow a poverty mindset. That's true. And some never did finish school. But they took the money that they had. They were able to send children off to college and never had a high school diploma themselves. They were able to take 2 nickels and work that thing to make $1. Instead of just, and sometimes people might have picked at them and called them misers because they said they held $1 so tight until George Washington was screaming on it. But what they did was they were able to see past that first situation. We as helpmeets, because we're mostly focusing on women tonight, the most difficult thing for women is that we have to say no sometimes. I like that. You have to say no to other people because it's hard. It's very difficult for women to say no to others. But sometimes you have to. But you have to also, in building, in order to be that proverb woman, that virtuous woman, able to handle business, because you're not supposed to be idle. He was talking about his wife able to make him look good when he's out. And we know that men are turned on by sight, yes, but they also turn on by money. And oftentimes, even the old school, the mom had to stay home, and the dad was out working all day long, and didn't get much money. Maybe he was getting paid by the day, or paid by the job, and he had more than one job a day because someone actually hired him for this job, and then the next thing you know, he's working on a car here. He may be doing landscaping over there. Might have done 3 different jobs that day, but he got paid for every last one of them. And then when he get home, you see he give the wife the money that she was supposed to handle the house with for that week. She'll put something back in a jar somewhere or tie it up in a sock somewhere. And then the next thing you know, they were able to send these children off to school. So you have to get past what other people think. You got to get past this facade in the media that you got to dress a certain way. You got to have everybody's name on you. You're not a slave. That's what they did to cattle. If you own cattle, they brand that cattle. That belongs to this farm. Yes, she was a treasurer. Yes, ma'am. Yes, be free. I love it. So what we have is so many now deciding that they got to brand themselves. Their name has to become a brand. They start losing their identity because they're trying to appeal to someone, to draw attention to themselves in such a way that just to keep someone entertained. But if what you're saying has no depth to it, it has no value to it, then it's just noise. We have to be able to give someone some wise counsel sometime. We got to also be able to accept it. And if we're talking about being a Proverbs 31 woman, ladies, like we said, we're talking about if it's first for married women, but we're going to say all women can be a virtuous woman. Now, it's not to say that every woman wants to be married. There are some that would never, ever want to be married. They're not trying to be. But yet they're not trying to engage in any activities to imitate marriage either. There's some women never have been married, never decided to be. Some have never even gone on a date, don't desire to. But see, in this day and age, they try to give you a name if you're not in somebody's bed. If you're not from one bed to the next, then they give you a name. But no, that's just the truth, that's not who you are. There's more to where you want to be and who you were created to be. You were created to bless someone else, but you didn't have a desire to be a wife, because we know as a wife there are some duties that you must engage in. So in order to get a clear picture of the woman or women that was depicted in this scripture, we have to first deal with that man. Or we're going to talk about men too. Yes. The full picture is not appreciated nor recognized until we first look to the character of the man to whom this virtuous woman was given to, or she's given herself off to. And like we said, this is also including single women in hopes of becoming a wife. Now, and single women indeed who have value being a significant part of being Christ, quote, the wife or the bride of Christ. So in other words, it's all women. Some women will never be married, don't have a desire to be married, but they're not dating anyone either. That's truly women that's who they are. And they have so much to offer. So that people should not make someone feel small, whether they have a desire to be married or don't desire to date or any of those things. You have so many things that you can offer. And those that desire to be married, someone should not discourage them and say, you don't have to be married. You can just live together. Don't do that. Don't belittle people for the calling that they have. So like I said, virtuous woman, the Proverbs 30 woman, all women, whether you're married or you single, or you desire to be married, because you are part of the bride of Christ when you have accepted the Lord as your Lord and Savior. The man that was depicted in this scripture was described, you have to read in verses 1 through 9, and he was called Lemuel, which is also King Solomon. What was his characteristics? He receives and accepts wise counsel. Because it's his mother that was giving him this instruction. You would think that was his father. But no, that was Bathsheba telling him what a wise and a noble wife would be. Yes. So from Proverbs 31, 1 through 9 talks about Prophet King Solomon. And another one of his characteristics is that he's assured of his place and position. He has the position that he holds with people is not that he's shysty. He's not a con artist. He's very, very mature. He's very solid in his position. He's not trying to be anything else than who he is. He's worked hard to be who he is. Another characteristic that he has knowledge of what is acceptable and unacceptable conduct and behaviors. That's one thing that is just embarrassing to any woman, is if her husband doesn't know how to behave. He doesn't know his audience. He's always saying things that's inappropriate. So that's one thing a helpmate will do. She's going to extend upon who he is. Another characteristic of this husband was that he gives wise counsel and delivers fair judgment. He pleads the cause of the poor and the needy. In other words, he's not a selfish man. He knows what he has in his reservoir, inside of who he is, in his character, and in his finances. And he's not selfish with either. He knows what to share. He knows how to share. And like I just said, a helpmate is a extension of who she's married to. She had been designed for and given to assist in carrying out that which was required of him, her husband, by the Lord. She must have the characteristics of her man, but also possess all of the treasures that the Father in heaven has uniquely given to her, in order that she may be the best that she can be. And that she can receive the best that not only the Father has, but that also her husband has. Because she's going to receive in his spirit from him. It is also from this platform that she gives from her wellspring of treasures, not only to her husband, but to all whom she comes in contact, such as relationships with children, parents, relatives, friends, and the public. Whatever who she has joined with, who she's helping, you got to understand, in a relationship, you start becoming an extension of each other. You take on each other's characteristics. That's how you see people that have been together for years. They can finish each other's sentences. Hello, how are you? They can finish each other's sentences. They got a certain look that they know when something is bothering you. From Alabama, actually. And where are you from? And so, and actually, we're coming like from the Midland City area, actually. So, you're an extension of each other. Greetings to you. And you You know, you see people, they say that they start looking alike after a while. Yes, because they have become one. They know each other. They can give each other a look when something's bothering each other. Someone said something that they thought was tacky or something that they didn't like. They can just look at each other and they already know. And if it's something that the husband doesn't want the wife to say, it's a certain looky look and all of that, and a certain, I'm a grandmother, that's for sure. And there's certain looks that your husband will give you when you're in public, and a certain look that you give him, like when you say, no. You don't need to say that. You don't even have to say it. No one even knows the conversation that you're having. Yes, the souls are tied together. You don't even know, they don't know the conversation that each are having with each other because you won. There's certain ways that you're going to deal with each relationship that you have as a virtuous woman. Like we said first with the husband and the wife, you both have to seek the face of the Father. You got to do that by yourselves and with each other. There has to be a time that you two come together and you praying together. You're praying for each other. You're praying for the direction of your home, the direction of your family. You can't walk together in trueness, true unity without it. It just doesn't work. Now, like I said, if anyone joining me, I'm coming from a Christian perspective. We're not just, and we're talking about everyday life situations, but from a Christian perspective. So as a Christian, we are definitely going to go to our source. Our source of strength is the Lord. So you're going to find strength and confidence in each other before going to others. In other words, your best friend should be the one that you married to, the one that you, like they said, pulling sheets with. That person should be your best friend, your very best friend. Nobody else should know as much as they know about you. And you're supposed to find that strength in someone, but sometimes situations are that of such that it can't happen. And then that causes a person to become so, I call it spiritual constipated. Because they got so much inside that hasn't been let out. You got to be able to flow. What's putting you has to be able to be shared with someone else. You have words of wisdom, words of knowledge been given to you, but you can't share it with your spouse. Then some things get out of order. You become frustrated. Another thing about husband and wife, you should keep the inner chamber a top priority. In other words, that intimacy between you two. And it's in all forms, whether your spiritual and your physical. We talked about before, there's no way that no one generally, unless they're older and they decided that they don't want to engage in that type of relationship anymore, as far as the intimacy in the physical realm. You get married to be able to do that. You're going to pour. He's pouring into you, ladies, and you receiving what he has, but then he's pulling from you what's in you. So that's how you to become one. That's why we talked about so many times where so many people are so confused in their spirit. You got too many people inside. You got to pull yourself back. Become one again. You come one with your mate. Whoever they've been with, they got to pull themselves back from it. Their mind can't be on them and you at the same time. Nor you, ladies, your mind on someone else, but you with them. It can't be. You have to have only one other person in that bedroom with you, and that's the Lord. That's the way it should be. Another thing, you should keep your word to each other. During the times when you are unable to keep your word or promise, you need to explain why you're unable to do that. My mother would say something such as this. She said, I'm not going to promise you. Because she said she was going to do something for us. She said, but I don't want you to think I'm going to promise you that. Yes, that's why you have to stay in a place of consecration and keep your spirit conditioned for strength. That's right, be free. That's it. That's it. Because you have to understand that he has weights of the world on him, and you also. You can't get to the point where one is disregarding the other's values or making them feel that way. But you don't know what's on someone's heart if they're not talking. You have to always be in communication. Because if you don't, it becomes heated. It becomes very tumultuous. Because you both are fighting for a place in each other's heart. Fighting for a place in someone's spirit. And it shouldn't be when you are husband and wife. You should already be one. You should already know. And if you didn't keep your word or a promise, you explain why you didn't do it. And then you've got to offer a sincere, heartfelt apology. Because you told them you were going to do something you didn't deliver on. You can't just let that just slide under the rug, because you have not only offended that person, but then you actually betrayed them. You might not see it that way, but you did. But they have that confidence in you. They're trusting you to do what you say you're going to do, and you don't. But you make excuses. And another thing, I say this all the time, own your stuff. Just own your stuff. If I made a mistake, say it. Let's not just try to sweep this stuff under the rug and think that it's okay and someone's supposed to just forget that. No, they haven't forgotten. They'll forgive you, but they'll let it go. My grandson is like that. He's going to be a strong young man, but he's very sensitive in the area of you keeping your word to him. If you do something to him and you don't apologize, he's going to hold that. He loves you, but he's going to hold that. But as soon as you say you're sorry, he forgives you immediately. Been that way all his life. So if he's that way, and I've been working with him in prayer, say sometimes you got to let people forgive people, because they're never going to come to you and say they're sorry. They're too prideful. And he can't understand that. It's not that he doesn't have the intellect to understand what I'm saying. He just don't understand why someone would be that way. Don't apologize. He don't get it. And I don't either. It's like, own your stuff. Just own it. Another thing between a husband and wife, always esteem your mate before others as well as in private. Don't try to put your spouse down. Ladies, let's not put our husbands down in front of people. And gentlemen, don't do that. Don't be trying to make your wife look small to somebody else. And definitely, most definitely, you never ever esteem another woman over yours. That's the most ridiculous. That's heinous. It's not that she's in competition with her, but she's supposed to be your everything when it comes down to women. Let's get that right. Anyway, value your mate. Show honor and respect. In order to show them honor, you're gonna present them that way. You're not gonna be ashamed of them. Anything that, such as we talked about, a weight gain, and a lot of people do that. So many people have been criticized by their spouses because they had gained weight. I can honestly say that has not happened to me. I thank God for that. I don't even have to lie about that. That has never happened to me. He's never said that, and I could tell if that were the case, but that's not the case. So and the Lord is definitely working. But I've seen so many women who have been ridiculed, treated less than because they gained some weight. And then these men run off to someone else instead of helping his wife get back to where she was. Because with women, there's a lot of things, like we said, we receive from them. If you're still being intimate with someone who has a contaminated spirit, they pouring all their junk on you. It goes in there. You're hearing all of these negative words, and how is he going to be intimate with you, especially into that point, and he doesn't even value you? So she's thinking all of these things. And some women have had to actually experience watching their spouses engage in other relationships right in front of them. Especially in if they are in ministry. There's certain things they continue to put up with that they normally would not have. And I tell people all the time, let's not make light of someone's marriage, because we can't do that. We that's off limits to us. We can't just do that. But at the same time, we got to give them the word. And these men that feel like they have to have a baby doll. She has to be a certain look. She has to be a certain size. She has to be all of this thing. Make sure you got the money to keep that up. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk now. So you can't expect her to do it all on her own. In order for a woman to be a Barbie doll in every aspect, she's got to be receiving Barbie doll language. You telling her how beautiful she is and all of this. That's what you do. So come on now. Find time to spend with your best friend, which means each other. Always share the word with each other. Have prayer and devotions with each other. Now, the truth of the matter is you have many people in ministry and in marriages that very seldom do that. They can't cook a thing just look like a... You got that right, just to look like a prize. You got that right. She got to be a prize to you, just not a show. She got to be a prize. Come on now. So, mother and children, you got to show love and respect for your child by accepting his or her unique giftings, callings, talents, and abilities. You never make comparisons to any other child, including and especially their siblings. Don't do it. You just can't do that. You got that right. Can't pray anybody through, but just look good. You got that right. No, that's right. Ooh, you better say that. Another thing mothers should never do, they should tell their child that you love them often and that you appreciate them. Make spending time with them a priority. Encourage your child to use their fullest potential to excel. See, we got to yes, esteem them. You find so many parents, because they buying into the lies too. They looking on these social medias and TV and looking at other people's, their friends and their friends are saying that their child is doing this and doing that. They don't know the price of what's going on. Every child has a gift. It might not be in the same areas. They might not be great in science or math, engineering or technology. They might just be wonderful in the fact that they love, or they actually wonderful in maybe being of service to someone. It might not be that they want to go to the most prestigious colleges, but they have a gift in drawing, or they might just have a gift in writing. So if you're looking for just prestigious positions according to man, you might make that child feel devalued. You got that right. You can't do that. And a lot of things, what a lot of parents do, they start putting burdens on a child based upon what someone put on them, deciding what they should do in life. Generally, they'll let you know. It might not be at the time you think either, because a lot of times, especially in this day and age, children are going through so much now that it takes them a while to sift through the garbage before they can even trust where they are and who they're with, before they start allowing you to see who they really are inside. And when you start seeing their giftings, that's when you start working on it. You might have the next artist in your house. You might have one of the best engineers or architects in your home. But if someone is telling you that a certain position, a certain career is where they should be, you limit them. You stifle them. We should appreciate that. Let them know that we appreciate them for just being. Their very presence. We should mothers should encourage your child to use their fullest potential to excel. Never make your child feel that they were a mistake or a burden, but a most wanted and valued treasure. Always share the word with your child. Find time for devotions, even if it's only for 5 minutes. The results are invaluable. They won't forget it. They will not forget it. In relationships with employers or employee, and co-workers. And this may sound strange, but like we said, we're coming from a Christian perspective. If you're a business owner, first thing you're going to do, you're going to pray for them. And they will pray for you. How you do that? Gather around. Grab hands with each other. Pray for that day. Pray for success in that day. Because there's hardships that they are going through too. And you pray for one another. You should appreciate each other's giftings and position. You should see each other from their perspective, also considering if it were you. See, there's certain things people going through and they react a certain way. If we say, I wouldn't do that. But no, think about it. See things the way they're seeing at that moment. And if this was me, wouldn't I want somebody to be praying for me? Wouldn't I want somebody to be understanding? Then we would find ourselves being less critical of someone else that's not doing things the way we would. If they're giving you the results of what you want, the methodology should not be to the point where you become a dictator. If you are training someone to do a job and you are showing them what you want to, what you need to do, what you need to have done, and you show them what the end result is, yet when they do it, they bring in their experience into play. And it might not be that you might have picked up 5 different items in one tool. They might pick up 5 different tools in one item. But if their result is exactly what you wanted, of the exact quality of what you wanted, of the exact quantity of what you wanted, then don't be critical that they didn't do it exactly like you. They are not you. But they respect your position. They are respecting your vision, and they are bringing in their giftings and abilities to it. Always show each other respect. And that's even in, like we said, in businesses, in your employer, and in church, and in every area of your life. You notice that there should be prayer in everything that you're doing. It's difficult. As a matter of fact, it's almost impossible. I would say this. It is impossible to live to your fullest potential that the Lord wants for you as a Christian if you never talk to Him. You don't know what's on His mind. It's just like with your spouse, as helpers, as helpmates. That's right. Pray without ceasing. How do you do that? That's in everything you're doing. Throughout the day, you have a prayer on your lips. There will be less arguments when you're praying, when you get to know each other, when you trust each other, when you are communicating with each other. You will know when the shift change in that one, when they're no longer thinking along that line, and they no longer desire a certain thing. You know, because you're talking all the time. Yes, consistently. That's things we have to do. We hear all the time, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. I'm a Proverbs. Everything that you have that's worth having is going to entail putting some time in it. That's just it. You got to put some time in. You can't just here and there, I'll see you by and by. I speak good things in your life every now and then. I'm so focused on what I want until I no longer see you. I can just dump anything on you at any time, any sort of way, and you're not supposed to respond to it. You're not supposed to be affected by it. You're not supposed to feel anything. If that's what you wanted a plastic Barbie doll, something that looked good all the time to everybody else. Barbie dolls are to be played with, not to be laid with. Now, if you wanted a doll, you don't need a wife. And women, same thing. Ken doll was to be played with, not to be laid with. So that's just somebody you just showing up with. You don't have time invested in them. You're not spending, you're not pouring in the reservoir of who you really are in them. It's just situational. Proverbs 31 woman. Like she said, she's a worker. She's a business-minded person. She's a helper in her home. She makes sure she's going to make her husband look good. She's not going to be talking about him to people all in the street. She's going to show him the highest esteem because he's doing it to her. She's a reflection of who he is. So in other words, that's right, we are women after God's heart, and that response is not so. Yes. The thing is, we are not supposed to be just laymates for people. You wives. You valuable. That's it. Playing the land. You got that? We're talking about Proverbs and 31 woman. She knew how to strategize. She was working her business. She was able to, like she said, dress in fine linen, but she didn't do it just for herself. Everybody that was around her was blessed. Those that were in her house, working for her, her servants, she made sure they had it like that. She made sure that her house was all in order before she went out there in the marketplace. How could she do this if she didn't have a man pouring into her, encouraging her? He knew what was in her because she was a reflection of him. He wanted her to succeed because he knew that if she failed, he failed. And see, that's where the problem comes in so much in relationships nowadays, why you have two households in one house. Because one wants one thing, one wants another thing, and they're not together. You got that right. She's the backbone. He knew what was in her, so he's encouraging her to do these things. He had to allow her to be all that she is. He knew that by she being a strong woman, he knew that by she being a ambitious woman, she was just like him. Because if you read in the scripture, you've seen King Solomon, the most wisest man there were, and how he conducted business. Of course, he got himself in a mess because he started bringing too many women in there. He knew that when he got those women, he got their stuff. So yeah, he got himself in a mess there. But his wife, reflective of who he is. A divided house can't stand. Word says that clearly. Cannot do it. And you have so many homes like that. Divided. They look good when they go out. Sharp as what the older people said. Sharp as a tack and rusty as a nail. In other words, they had it going on like that. Looking real good. Come on now. But there's no substance. When they get home, can't even talk to each other. So much friction because there's just a lot of words being spoken, but no substance coming out of the mouth. Nothing really hitting the spirit of who that woman is or who that man is. And when you are a believer in Christ, in order to make, that's it, just roommates, that's it. In order to have a strong marriage, I need to pour in you. You need to pour in me. In order to satisfy a Christian woman, you got to give her some things from the Lord. If you're not pouring into me the things that really going to make me stronger in who God made me, then we got a problem here. You never telling me anything about what the word says. You never praying with me. You never get a scripture to encourage me. You're not sitting down having devotions with me. If we're spending more time about everybody else's stuff and everybody else's business and everybody else's shows they put on, and we don't have anything to really make me me, we got a problem here. Yes, a stable prayer life is a must. You got that absolutely right. It is. It is a must. And if that house is divided, what is it? What do you call it? What is it, a duplex? Because if you have two apartments, they're in the same building, but yet they're not connected. That is a duplex, right? They're not in the same house. It's been divided. It's sectioned off. So what do you have? So how do you be this? A real relationship with God is vital. That's it. That's absolutely right. And like I said, if anyone is joining us, that you listening to us, we come and talk about everyday life, but we talk about it from a Christian perspective. You can't even go in business with anyone that's not on the same page. You cannot do it. You can't be business partners if the vision is not the same. Otherwise, that's why it's called divisions. It's divided up. Two is more than one. It's a dual vision. And if it's more than one, if it's more than two visions, it's a total mess. It's chaos. It has to be one vision. And generally it may have different parts. Because you have a part, I have a part, but the vision is the same. The outcome is the same. And in marriage, it should be we on the same team. We can say team all the time. Words are easy to say. But are they easy to live? They are if you want them to be. Your biggest struggle in being a Proverbs 31 woman is not allowing yourself the liberty to flow in all that you are. Don't allow the fact that you have so much in you and others might not understand that. Now, let's get this truth. Let's get this truth out. Now, your strength should not be perceived as being arrogant or demeaning or controlling. Your strength that you have been given, that beauty of who you are, your giftings and abilities. Yes, yes, she wears many hats. You should not be perceived by your doing that you are being controlling, manipulative, and however. But you shouldn't limit yourself because of what others can't handle. And you see what I'm saying? Don't do it on your own. Don't just force who you are, but be who you are. There's a way to do that. You as a businesswoman, you know that you have to, in order to have a successful business, you have to have someone buying your product. They have to see the quality of what you're delivering. Your goods have to be of a substantial quality in order to continue to have that relationship with your customers. And yes, you're going to have other competitors. Competitors doesn't mean you're trying to put them out of business. They might be having some of the same problems as you. But you're doing it your way. You got your flavor on it. They have their spin on it. And it may be sometimes they go and they patronize that business, but they're going to still come back to you because you have something that other one just don't offer that way. Just like who you are. There's other people might be doing some of the same things that you are doing, but they can never do it like you. You are you. So you having so many people talk about, yes, branding themselves. No, don't brand yourself. Be the brand. What I mean by that, be you. Be that wonderful you that God created you to be. And word of mouth, like we say, it will get out there. Somebody's going to find out just what quality you have. Present who you are. That doesn't mean you just kick everybody else out of the way if they're not doing it your way. Because you're going to become more humble. The more successful you are, the more humble you are to be. It just says as you are leaders, the higher up you go, the more of a servant you are to become. You serve people. You do it with humility because you realize in order to be where you are, it took someone else trusting you, investing their time, investing their presence, investing their finances in some cases to you, and trusting you with that. You're a Proverbs 31 woman? Yes, you are. Are you a force to be reckoned with? So most definitely you are. There are some ideas that you have that you haven't even began to open. It's time to open it. There may be some things that you were doing before. And it's truly successful, but you already know that that's as far as that can go. And it's time to end that and start something else. But if what you are doing is still relevant and is still successful, don't change it. Allow it to flow and flourish and grow so much the more. Allow those roots to grow deep. In order to be a successful, noble woman of great character and stature, we talk about in every area in the relationships, you're going to invest in your relationships. You're going to spend time investing in yourself. And you're going to, even in your finances, what we're going to do in order, we're going to leave a legacy for someone else. We got to understand we might not can go back and catch up on times past because we were emotionally involved in a situation. We were in survival mode, that everything that we had to sustain us to where we were. We had to just live and exist because outside situations came into our lives that we didn't expect to happen, but it happened. We women who had to raise children by ourselves, and some of us who had gotten remarried, and then we still had the values of a wife, never stopped being one, even when we was no longer one. And that puts you in a position too. See, this is two situations that I said are very difficult and out of order. For a married woman to be single in a marriage, and for single women to be in a marriage position and you're not married. See, those things is out of order. That doesn't work. In other words, a single woman shouldn't have to be trying to do duties or responsibilities of a married wife if she had not been married. And a married woman should not have to live as if she's a single woman, have to do everything by herself because you just left by yourself on your own vices. Come on. You'll help me. Come on. That shouldn't even be. That's just, that's an oxymoron. Come on, really? So in order to be the best of who you are, you're going to be that virtuous, not just it's not going to just be a slogan or a mantra. I'm every woman. No, you're not every woman for everybody. You're not supposed to be. But if you know where your position is, you know where you have to flow. You know where your calling is. You know where your gifting is. You know that you have nothing in you but greatness. You know this. What makes you frustrated is you don't know which part of you to start presenting first. The way to know that is to pray. Ask the Lord, what do He want you to do? Where do He want you to do it at? And He's going to have you to do this because women, we are the best consumers. Now it's time for us to be the best producers. Do your thing. God's got it in you. Ask Him what it is that He wants you to do. What is that thing that you want to do? You can't help it, regardless of what other people say. Every time you say it, they say, oh, that's not going to work. You're just dreaming. Whatever. Whatever it is that you want to do that you can't even sleep because it's there. Do that thing. Work on that thing. Start talking to someone. Pray on it. Ask the Lord to send someone in your life to help you get that done because it just didn't come in your mind for nothing. You can't just dream up these things on your own. Yes, I know there's many people say if you dream it, you can have it. But where did you get that dream from? You didn't do it on your own. And nurture it. And let it flow. There's so many people waiting on the product that only you can produce. You don't have to always wear everybody else's name. And yes, that's good. It's nice to patronize other people's businesses. But there are some businesses in you that those that even you buying from will buy from you. Whatever it is, whether your business will be your ministry. Because He's giving you a word for a certain group of people. And yes, ministry, He wants us all to be able to talk to someone, love on someone, help someone in need. But you have a word that He placed in your mouth, or He's given you an idea for a product or a substance that only you can produce. Write it down. You hear that all the time. Write down, some people say, the vision board. But if you go to Joel, he already said that. He said, write the vision and make it plain that who read it will run. So that tell you somebody's going to see it and run with it. It's going to come to pass. You don't give up on it, because it's going to come to pass. Don't think that difficulty is not going to come, because there's going to be people that will say some things that literally will stunt you if you let it happen. It's going to shock you because of who it is that said it, where they're coming from, and the words that they're using. Yes, you're going to meet opposition. You're going to hear people say it's not going to come to pass. You shouldn't be doing it. You're wasting your time and all these things. Those things that let you know it should be done. Because if it wasn't to be, they wouldn't even be saying that anyway. Maybe they are not the one to help you. And sometimes you have to get past who you're looking at. Because you might think that they're the one to help you. No, a lot of times it's not even anybody you know. Sometimes you got to go outside your four walls. And the Lord will bring someone to you, maybe even from overseas. You have no idea, because now He's given us a platform that we can talk to each other across the world. And I just want to thank you all so much, ladies and gentlemen, because we're helpers to one another. When we see past all of the division that the enemy is trying to give to us, whether in culture, whether in skin tone, whether in financial status, when we see that we are family, brothers and sisters to one another, and when those that are married are really married indeed and not just in name, when they see past the fact that marriage is a piece of paper and see what marriage really is, that is a covenant. And when we see that our brothers and sisters are an extension of who we are, when we see past all of these things and see, other than what the enemy is saying, that all roads lead to heaven, we know that truly when we look into these things, that's not true. It can't be true. Because some of these gods that they're saying that are the same God is very hateful. Wants to annihilate people just because they don't think like them. When you have a relationship with the Lord, there's nothing religious in it. It's a relationship that entails you allowing Him to be who He is in you. And you're going to start loving like He does. You're going to see people differently, even if they don't accept you. Even if what they're doing is contradictory to what the Lord said they should be doing, you're still going to love them. Nothing they're going to do or say is going to stop you from loving them. And that's the way it should be. We all got to see each other as one big family and work on it. Let it be the way it should be. So the question was tonight, is every woman a Proverbs 31 woman? Yes. Doesn't mean that in that particular scripture she was a married woman to King Solomon, but every woman is a Proverbs 31 woman. Yes. She has value. She's able to produce. She's able to have business. She's able to teach. She's able to nurture. She's able to demand respect and able to run a boardroom. Yeah, she's able to command an audience to take note and pay attention. Yes, she's able to do those things and yet still be so loving, so respectful, so humble and kind. Yes, we women can get so frustrated until things make us hard, but no, we're going to love like we're supposed to. You all are powerful, wonderful, awesome people. I love you so much. I'm going to tell you that all the time. I love you with all of my heart. That will never change. But know this one thing. God loved you first, and He loved you best. God bless you all.